All right. Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Talk Openly with Lions Road Dharma Center. My name's Jack. I'm here with my wonderful friend, Daniel. Hey, Daniel. You there? Are you there?
Yep, we're good to go.
Oh, I did the intro.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Daniel here with technical difficulties as always. It wouldn't be a Talk Openly show if I hadn't caused some kind of technical challenge, but thanks. I'm glad you did the intro.
Yeah, I was just checking in on you, seeing how you're doing.
Yeah, just sitting here staring at my screen without listening to anything. But we're good, we're good. It's a good metaphor for my practice lately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, completely lacking mindfulness and
Oh, wow.
distracted. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it in a minute, but
Yeah.
just to let people know, we're talking about a Shantideva verse tonight. It's a very famous quote from A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, and we're going to dig into it and yeah, see, gosh, just how pertinent this verse is to everyday life. And kind of yeah, shifting our expectations about the world and what it can actually do for us. So it's gonna be a good conversation. I think always Shantideva is relevant for me.
Do you remember when we first got started on the show and we had like a Shantideva exchange our favorite verses? That was
Yeah, that
fun.
was great. That was great.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, if you and for folks listening, if you haven't heard that one, we got it on what Talk Openly Podbean. We've got like all our
Mm-hmm.
backlog of podcasts.
That's
So
right.
yeah, you'll
The
see
archive, the Talk Openly archive.
it will you'll be able to see 2 years, right? Almost.
Has it been that long? My
That's
goodness.
crazy. I think it's 2 years. So
Yeah.
2 years of near weekly podcasts, you'll be able to see Daniel and I kind of shift and go through our lives together, and it's good. Well, how's your life right now, Daniel? You said a little bit mindless on the cushion, huh?
Yeah. I'd say, life in general, yeah, it's fine. Hunky dory,
Yeah.
it's spring. Life is springing all around, whether we're talking about plants or animals or whatever. Caught a mouse in the house the other day.
Okay.
First and only. I think it just came in erratically. It was looked like an outdoor mouse. Caught it and let it go this morning. That
Yeah.
was nice. And then right before the show, like just minutes ago, my neighbor was like, "Oh my gosh, I think there's a lizard, and I've never seen one like this. I think it's someone's pet that's escaped."
Oh,
Anyway, I
wow.
went out there. It was being chased by a blue jay,
Oh,
and
geez.
yeah, it was not a pet lizard. It was an alligator lizard. They're
It
they're
was
neat.
an alligator?
Yeah, alligator lizard.
Oh, an alligator lizard. I was like, what is happening in Sacramento?
No, they're native. They're native. They're just big, scary looking things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But so there, that's good stuff. And then yeah, practice wise, like I was saying, kind of not mindless, I guess, but just not mindful,
Mm,
right? Like the distraction level is ultra high right now. Like
yeah.
I've had twice now, just this week, where I ended my meditation early because I was like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing like it, as Shantideva himself says, like there's no, if you're not mindful, there's the benefit of the practices is not that great, right?
Yeah.
And after a decent amount of diligent effort, I'm like, this isn't doing it. And I've
Yeah.
gotten up from the cushion twice this week, which is kind of unusual.
It's really
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. Like I'm not, no shame in my game,
Yeah.
right? It's all
No,
right. Like that's just how it goes sometimes. But it's interesting
totally.
to observe, right? Like the nature of the distraction and how powerful it is, as Shantideva says in that same chapter that we're talking about tonight. It's like a rutting elephant, like a
Uh-huh.
wild rutting elephant.
It's so wild. Yeah, it's like, oh, just pounding, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the cause is. The causes and conditions are sufficient for it. That's all I can say.
Right, yeah.
And so I think it's important to me to keep sort of like a joyous attitude, even, like a joyful attitude even towards that, and
Mhm.
to be like, yeah, all right, so that's what's happening right now. It's okay. I'm gonna just keep, I'll persevere, keep going at it, and apply the teachings that I've learned, and I think it'll be all okay.
It's gonna be all okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Next week we're gonna be talking about how it flipped a 180, like it just, and who knows, maybe it's gonna be like 3 years that you're dealing with this. We don't know actually, but
Right.
it's your training and it's all good and you're showing up for it. So
That's right.
that's
That's
what's
right.
important. Yeah,
Exactly. You got to adapt, right? You got to change just like hitting the gym or whatever, right? Like sometimes you're just not in a place, maybe you have an injury or something, and
right.
in those cases, yeah, you got to do things a little bit different, but don't stop.
Yeah, don't stop. Yeah, don't
Don't
let
stop.
your mindfulness atrophy, right? Your meditation.
Yeah, yeah, at least like our friend Matthew Cruz has suggested to me in the past, at the very least, like intentionally touch your cushion and just say, hey, maybe not today.
Yeah, acknowledge it. Like,
Acknowledge it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Still
here.
still check in, still touch base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, good. Well, glad to hear you're still showing up. And how, it's interesting, right? To see these kind of patterns and like new things come up.
Oh
And
yeah.
and so I think that's like it's important to see that like those kind of things actually I think make it really engaging and like for me to keep showing up like, huh,
Indeed.
this is interesting. This hasn't
Right.
happened like this before. Okay,
Yeah, as soon as I begin to sort of solidify and stabilize and be like, that's what it's all about, then it shifts and changes.
totally.
That's good. It keeps things interesting. I like novelty, I like new things. So
Me
like you said, it
too.
keeps me engaged. So it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
I'm good. Yeah, I have also had a lot of distraction and meditation, but what I'm noticing most is that I know I think I brought it up last time, but just like intense lethargy
Uh,
once I hit the cushion and
yeah.
not necessarily later in the day, but my mornings I just I could get 6 hours of sleep, I could get 9 hours of sleep, and I'm still like just falling asleep in my meditation in the morning. And so what I did this morning was just like 12, I did 12 minutes. And I was like, okay, it's 12 minutes. I can do this.
Yeah.
And then I did some mantra and a little bit of reading. And of
Good.
course, my prayers before that and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, but that's kind of what my capacity was this morning. And so I think that's, important to recognize too, is like, okay, you know, maybe the type of practice that I need to do in the morning might be different from the evening. And maybe also it's just very kind of based on where my body's at.
Yep.
Um, so some mornings it might be flipped, right? Um, and then there's that kind of element, that edge of like, okay, and also, like how much should I be thinking like, no, I need to discipline myself to just do this, to do it no matter how my body is showing up, so it's like, it's
Not too
kind of
tight, not too loose.
not too tight, not too loose. And, we mentioned quite frequently about how, we're not monastics, we're lay practitioners. And so, sometimes, I'm taking into account that like I'm working very hard during the day. I have a difficult job. And then yeah, if I don't get good sleep, sometimes it's really hard to have like a really robust meditation session. And that's
Yeah.
okay. This is my life right now. Is that there's a lot of energy I'm putting out into the world. So yeah, I think I'm also trying to like, I've only been in this job for 9 months, it's less than a year. And so I think that's part of it too, is like kind of figuring out like, okay, how do I like work with the amount of energy that I put out during the day? Like, how can I conserve some of that? What kind of routines do I need to get into? And something that's actually been really helpful is like trying to remember like throughout the day to like dedicate, like, like noticing like, okay, that was like a job well done, or that was like a good interaction, like
Hmm.
kind of just checking in with my practice throughout the day. And that's a little more energizing.
I've been thinking a lot about what you just said, that last statement about remembering,
Yeah.
about recollecting, right? That's an aspect of mindfulness. That's
Hmm.
a it's a, I think it's actually, I think it's like a pretty big part of it, right? Where just throughout the day, throughout our ordinary lives, right? Like, yes, there's the mind training aspect of it, but there's also sort of the awareness part of it. Just remembering, right? Like, hey, what am I doing again? Like what are my
Hmm.
values? What are my objectives? What are my goals? Right? And then we notice that when we sort of remember, there's just like it's like a realignment. It's just like a mild sort of like adjustment, right? A natural adjustment. It's not quite like the active training part of it. It's
Hmm.
just this sort of like recognizing, like, ah, yes, there we go. I'm a little bit off, a little bit,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Calibrating.
calibrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the other part that you said. One thing that that resonated with me is that, so like you're tired in the mornings, and then you're like, it doesn't mean that you're not going to engage in some form of practice, right?
Hmm.
Maybe, yeah, you shorten your meditation, or maybe you just read for a bit, right? Like studying is important. I have made, I've really put a lot of effort into trying to have a daily meditation practice, but at the same time, I think cultivating and maintaining a daily study practice is important too, right?
Yeah.
Like the two go hand in hand. And so sometimes I feel like maybe these are like good opportunities, because I've had the same kind of thing where I'm like, I'm going to read right now, right? Like I need to give my mind something to do. It's too restless, it's too worked up, it's too active. And there are more active meditations to do as well, right? That can be good. But yeah, like working with it, it's all workable and we're doing it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I love that phrase. Yeah, it's all workable.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, Lama says that. I've also read it, I think recently in a Pema Chodron book, that we just come to a place where it's like, oh yeah, it is all workable.
Yeah.
Not going to discard anything. There's something that I can yeah, learn through this.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so and we bring up occasionally that kind of meditation on the lethargy itself, you know,
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
which is
Whatever's showing
hard
up,
for me.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Boredom, lethargy, excitement. Bring it
Hmm.
all in. Look at it all.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
our mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Oh, mind.
Mm, mm.
So that's where I'm at. I'm good. And yeah, it's been a little cloudy, but it's sunny right now, so it's kind of nice.
Nice.
Enjoying the Pacific Northwest.
Spring is springing.
Spring is springing. Yeah.
Good.
How are your allergies, by the way? They cooling down?
Yeah, yeah, it's all recovering. Everything's kind of getting back in order.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
it's good, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, yeah, I hope. Please stay that way. I don't have
Yeah.
any wood to knock on, but there you go.
Here,
I'll knock.
knocking on it for you. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Hopefully Cinder Block does the same thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
All right. Well, what do you say? Should we get into some Lojong?
Heck yeah, I think we ought to.
Great.
Let me see if I can do that just a second here.
We've got one of one of two or three random Lojong slogan generators in the universe here
In the universe. Are
in the
you sure? I
universe.
don't know. Prove it.
I mean, yeah, I mean there might be another
There
one in a far away.
there might be a realm that's just consists of nothing but random Lojong slogans.
Oh, there's probably is. You seen that movie, right? Everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once.
I have what a fantastic movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, thoroughly
Recommend to
enjoyed that.
everybody. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, we're spinning it up.
Okay. 42. Whichever of two occurs, be patient. Okay, we got some text here. If you suddenly come to a great fortune, do not become arrogant or become attached to it. Make sure you do not fall prey to the 8 mundane concerns. You should take this fortune as a basis for your Dharma practice. Some people who attract followers and material gifts become conceited by this. They then despise others and do whatever comes to mind. You must discard such behavior. Likewise, if you experience misfortune such that the only thing that seems beneath you is the water flowing under a bridge, do not become depressed or demoralized, wondering how such an unfortunate person like me could exist. Do not be so downcast you are incapable of training the mind. Instead, reflect. Compared to the contrast in degree and intensity between the happiness of the higher realms and the suffering of the lower realms of existence, the contrast between pleasant and unpleasant states of human existence is not so immense. So, without further distraction, I shall focus on my spiritual practices. For it is taught, even if you are prosperous like the gods, pray do not be conceited. Even if you become as destitute as a hungry ghost, pray do not be disheartened. And that was a commentary on the 7-point mind training by Sei Choki Gyaltsen
The
from the 12th century there.
the very embodiment of it's all workable.
It's all workable. That's
No, no
right.
matter what's going on, right? Like it's all
Yeah.
workable and you, yeah. I guess I could say that I'm grateful that at least as of late I have not come into any great fortune. So that's not one of the ones I have to worry about right now, but at some point maybe I can work on that arrogance and attachment.
Man, I come across that every day. I don't know. Like I'm
Yeah.
kind of a little bit of an arrogant person, a little bit prideful. It
That's interesting. I actually was reflecting on that as part of my
uh-huh.
just today in today's meditation. I was doing the seven limb offering, right? And I came to like sort of the mistakes part of it, and I was reflecting, and I was like, yeah, actually, I think that there's a sense of pride in my Dharma practice, and I think that has allowed some slippage. Like in the sense that I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm good. I'm diligent. I'm doing what's right. I'm waking up. I'm walking the path. And there's this sort of like a little bit of like cockiness or pride in there, which is not deserved. Um, and I think that what I noticed is that I think it introduces slippage, like in the sense that I kind of am like, yeah, yeah, it's cool, it's all good, and I actually that's where the mindfulness I become less mindful, right? Because I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this like this thing, this pattern going on, I'm doing it, and it's like I'm coasting, right? Instead of
Yeah.
climbing, and it's sort of like what I notice is like it comes after a climb, right? After some resistance and after overcoming some resistance, after doing some hard work, then I get into these like coasting periods. And like there's nothing wrong with coasting for a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
But like I get attached to that. I get attached to that kind of ease and like it's oh I got this.
Yeah,
And
for
there's a,
sure.
like I said, there's a I don't know if it's arrogance, but there's like a little sense of like I don't know, there's a lack of humility.
Yeah. That's so interesting. And um you use the word slippage, which in this kind of, thinking about conceit or arrogance, pride, that is the problem that the gods have, right? The God realm.
Right. Right.
And, to that kind of slippage that happens in the God realm, right? When they're like in this state of like, I don't even know what's going on because everything's just great. And then
Exactly.
it hits them that like, oh shit, no, it's not.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
I'm going down, right?
Right.
And so how interesting that like there's kind of a correlate there with you. Like what you're saying is like, okay, I'm doing fine, I'm doing good. And then
Right.
just kind of like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
little
Uh-huh.
slippage.
And this I think, and this is what I was thinking about today. I was like, what I recognized was if I continue along this way and I don't recognize that I need to, kind of keep pedaling, like then it's kind of like I'm like coasting sort of like downhill and then along the bottom and I'm not using a lot of energy. And now of course there's going to be an uphill as well. And my problem is I'm not going to recognize it until I'm like run out of steam, and
Uh-huh.
then now I'm on a hill and I'm like gonna be crippled. I gotta like get off and like walk the bike or whatever, and then I'll be all mortified and upset about that. But if I just was nice and steady on it, and I didn't have that introduce that slippage, like if I can increase my awareness around this and be like, hey, remember, Daniel, that's actually not the way you want to be. You can see that that's a pattern for you. Let's not do that again. Then that's learning. Then I can actually
Yeah.
maintain some effort, and then I won't have the same kind of um, big obstacle to over. It's not maybe not big, but I won't have as much resistance when I hit that hill, right? Because I'll still
Mm,
be pedaling.
yeah. No, that's a great point. Is like and not too tight, not too loose, right? That's
Right.
another example.
Exactly.
Is like, yeah, we have this middle way path that we're being taught and can, we apply it everywhere. It's just there's such wisdom, like it just the layers of wisdom in our training is just
Hmm.
I'm just amazed at like just today, like thinking about like, oh, that's how pride works, that we think that we're good and then we're not.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
how
Be on the
that,
lookout.
yeah, that symbol of the gods, I just hadn't really thought of it that way.
No,
So
I hadn't either, and I'm really glad that you brought it up.
I love our training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm so attached to those God realms.
Gosh, yeah, yeah. I'm attached. I'm a demigod. I'm kind of like
Yeah.
I'm a jealous kind of yeah, a little bit wrathful.
Understood.
Uh,
Understood. Yeah. Well, may we neither one of us be ever reincarnated as those ever
oh
again.
yeah, God.
Let's just
Yeah.
keep
Can
on
you
being
imagine
human, huh?
having your whole environment manifest as the worst jealousy you've ever had?
No, I don't want to know. I don't even want
It's
to think about
horrific.
that.
Yeah, no, I don't
But you did
either.
say something about layers of wisdom, and I just want to give a little shout out because it's directly related to that. If you experience the second part here, if you experience
Mm,
misfortune and
mm-hmm.
whatever, things seem depressing or demoralizing, I want to just throw a little shout out to Yeshe Jamyang's talk on Sunday about the charnel grounds. That was a
Yeah.
truly I like it touched my heart. It was a really wonderful talk. And I thought it really was sort of along these lines. She talked about this a decent amount about like the misfortunes, what we would see as the negative aspects of the charnel ground, right? Death,
Hmm.
destruction, misfortune, and even if depression is there. We can still continue, like as it says here, don't be so downcast or incapable of training the mind. Those are opportune times to train the mind. And I
Right.
really, I really appreciated her message a lot. And if you didn't get to catch that talk, I'm sure it's going to be up on YouTube soon, and I encourage everyone to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's such a good reminder of the potency of the charnel ground and of our struggles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this. What's this kind of four panel?
I don't know what this is. It's a drawing of Vaishravana, Yama, Vishna, Vijaya, Tara, and Buddha.
Sweet.
It's kind of light. I wish,
Yeah.
I wish I saw the original.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Can
Huh.
you imagine coming across this and being like, oh my God, this is a 16th century treasure
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
of wisdom and bliss.
And bliss.
There's some bliss on there.
For sure there is.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Thank you, Dirk. As
Thanks, Derek.
always, we really appreciate what you put together there.
Yeah, for sure. Great. Well, Daniel,
Jack.
Shantideva, I feel like Shantideva's our buddy, but also like that buddy that kicks your butt sometimes.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, yeah. I still to this day, I think I mentioned it back then when we first started our talk. I have an app on my phone. It's a verse a day from Shantideva's work here. And it's the only app that is allowed to send me a daily message notification. And it
I
just
love
gives me the
that.
verse of the day. It's fantastic.
Gosh, I need to I something happened. I don't get it I don't get it anymore. I need to turn it back on or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I didn't do an update or something.
I
But
like it because it always like what it does is it kind of like draws me in. So I'll get the verse of the day, and sometimes it's because it's just a random verse.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm missing some of the context. And I'm like, what's he talking about? You know?
right.
And so then I'll go into the whatever chapter it is and I'll read sort of the context around it. And, it's always helpful. It's
Yeah,
never not been helpful.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, it's a good and how important too to like have him as your daily check-in. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and because he's really covering the path. And I just feel like so the one that we're going to be focusing on today, chapter 5, a verse from chapter 5 is on guarding introspection. And man, I feel like I could read this chapter every day, right? And you know, it's so beneficial. Because there's so many ways, right, that the mind can really, really get out of control.
Yeah, and I like the I like one of the things I really like about Shantideva is it's really vivid imagery, which
Super
which
vivid.
is it resonates with me. It's easy for me to see. So like
Yep.
in chapter 5, he's talking about sort of like on the one hand preventing suffering and on the other hand cultivating virtue. And in the beginning, he's like talking about this wild elephant, this rutting wild elephant, which if you've ever seen like a YouTube video of these guys, they're huge and they are obnoxiously destructive, right?
Disastrous.
And
Yeah.
they're terrible, man. And, certainly my mind has been there. There's no doubt. I
Yeah.
know that the capacity for destruction and suffering is certainly there. So I really like that imagery. But then he goes on to use the similar kind of imagery about how, like, the same kind of like elephant can become really helpful, right? And docile
Mm-hmm.
and beneficial.
Right. Right. Yeah. The use of metaphor throughout is just really stunning. Um,
Fantastic.
so let's read the one that we're going to be talking about tonight. Do you want to kick it off?
Sure, sure, absolutely. So this particular version or translation says, "Where would there be leather enough to cover the entire world? The earth is covered over merely with the leather of my sandals." Right? So, actually, sorry, I got that backwards. I got that wrong. That was a different translation. That wasn't the one I wanted to use. Let me start over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a few different translations here.
Yeah.
Where would I find enough leather to cover the entire surface of the earth? But with leather soles beneath my feet, it's as if the whole world has been covered. There we go. That's a better one.
Yeah.
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 Great. So this is one of the most, if not the most famous, I think, of Shantideva's um, text here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super pertinent. It came up the other day. The reason I wanted to talk about it, so I was chatting with a friend and we were talking about a lot of the troubles in the world and about how there appear to be these people who are dead set on, changing everything about everyone around them, right?
Yeah.
Like how they just can't be, and these people seem miserable, right? But they're so hell bent on changing their environment, the people in their environment, everything outside of themselves needs to be changed, right? And I remembered this quote and I brought it up and it was like, it was contextually, it was just perfect. It was exactly what we were
Mm.
talking about. And so then I was like, yeah, I want to talk about that, right? Like, because we're all guilty of wanting to cover the whole world in leather so that we don't have to encounter any thorns or have any kind of difficulty on our tender little feet, right? But wouldn't it be easier and smarter, just to cover our own feet with some shoes? So what do you think how do you translate this into like modern like, speak? How do you
Ooh,
or how
yeah.
do you
Yeah.
interpret it rather?
Well, I guess through like a little bit of a therapist lens,
Okay.
like I'm thinking of it that way is like, you know, we have to accept, like radically accept what is within my control and what is not. And there is a lot that's not within my control. It's actually not possible to pave it over with leather or anything. In fact, trying to do that will likely only make whatever you're upset with worse. And so, really taking stock of what I actually have control over. And that brings such a clarity and like sense of sanity, right?
Yeah.
To your world and to your experience. And so I think that's kind of like how I translate it as like a mental health provider.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. It's
Just some like
perfect.
radical acceptance of like, this is it, like I can't change samsara, like I can adjust my attitudes. And if that helps change some things external to me, fantastic. But it's not up to me whether those things change.
Yeah, it's kind of like that ripple effect though, right? Like so many people appear to want to like have the ripple, like start the ripple on the outside, right? And have it come in and affect them and their mindset when in fact it's, the only way it's possible is, from this inner work, right? It has to come from inside and then it ripples out. And like it is, certainly like I think one of the things that kind of concerned me when I was thinking about this was like I have a tendency towards like apathy and
Yeah.
sort of nihilism and whatever, and sort of just like whatever. There's no meaning. It doesn't matter anyway. Nothing's gonna change. Who cares?
Mhm.
So like I have that tendency, and there's a way to, I think, misuse or misinterpret or abuse this quote in a certain way
Some
to that end.
bypassing.
There is a way to use it to do some bypassing, but that is like absolutely not what this is about whatsoever. In fact, I think it's kind of pointing the way towards effective action. Like, like we want to take some kind of action because we're in pain or we see suffering or we see something's not right. And we want to take some kind of action, but we don't know what kind of action to take. And so we're misguided because we're not in line with, we're not in harmony with sort of reality as it is and our true
Mhm.
capacity. And so, I think that it's sort of pointing the way towards greater efficacy in our work and our actions, right?
Yeah.
It's just about knowing where to start.
Well, and that makes sense if, to kind of carry the metaphor, the image, further is like, you wouldn't need to wear shoes if you weren't going to be taking them out into the world, right? This
Totally.
world that is
Yeah.
harmful is gonna, kick your butt. You got to wear some shoes,
You
right?
don't need shoes on the lazy boy.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. And so it is a call to action, but appropriate, sane action that, yeah, recognizes like reality,
Yeah.
ideally.
Ideally, yeah. I was thinking though, I was thinking about the metaphors. Sometimes I like to get lost in metaphors,
Well,
and
me
I
too.
and I was like, well, I think Shantideva is missing one other option though, right? Which okay, so sure, like there's sort of going out barefoot, trying to coat the whole world. There's that aspect of it, and then there's like putting leather on your own feet. But there's also you could just sort of toughen up, and go out there, suffer the pain, get hard and calloused so your feet don't feel anything. You could walk across glass, you could walk on hot coals, and it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't feel anything.
Ah, is that the way of the Bodhisattva?
No.
To not
No,
feel anything?
no, that was my point. Is like I was like, well, yeah, but that's not the way of the Bodhisattva. It's true, right?
Right.
Like because then you don't get the responsiveness, all the goodness, all the sensitivity that
Right.
comes with our feet, right? Like we wouldn't be able to sense the world around us in the same way, right? There would, and but I would. My point was is that that is. I think that was sort of like. I think that may have been an approach that I attempted for a while, right? Just sort of like what do they call that? What do they call it in like in recovery when you just sort of like
Oh,
uh,
yeah. White knuckle it.
white knuckle it.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
white knuckle it until you develop some calluses and don't feel it
Hmm.
anymore. Right.
Hmm.
But before the white knuckling part of it, I think that my method of trying to control. So I was thinking about this. Like, I was like, well, okay, so it's easy to point the finger at other people and be like, look at them trying to make the world perfect according to their own ideas of perfection or whatever. And then I was like, well, how do I do that? And then I was just kind of surprised. I could see like in the past how I used to do it. So my attempt to coat the world, so to speak, in leather, came from wanting to coat the entire input, the sensory input through drugs and alcohol,
Yeah.
right? Like that was my attempt to cover the world in leather, and it's not effective whatsoever, right? Like it's not a wise, it doesn't lead to good outcomes, as many people know. Um,
Mhm.
but even after that, so then I tried to white knuckle it. That wasn't quite it either. That doesn't do it either. But there is this other path here, right? Of being mindful, being present with it, observing it, right? Working with it.
Mhm.
It's a little bit slower, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like it takes a lot more time and effort, but I think the results are far superior to the other methods.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know wasn't Lama in discussion with you, right? Where he talked to you about the view is much different from an airplane than it is walking on the ground. Like you're going to experience like the journey
Right.
in a much different way. And drugs seem like the airplane.
Yeah.
And of course, they don't actually get us to the destination we want to be. Maybe a glimpse, right? If, psychedelics or whatnot.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that kind of that long journey on foot with our sandals, that's gonna get us there. And
Right, right.
as like the kind of uh Mahayana and Hinayana, right? Kind of this a little bit slower, really engaging with the world's path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not a speed run.
No, it's not.
Yeah, what you said though, and this sort of discussion about the my attempts to pave the world or put leather all around it with these drugs and alcohol. I saw this post on Reddit earlier that was related to this, where somebody actually they were like with I think this is basically like the sort of like the Buddhist version of like the serenity prayer,
Mm,
right? Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think, and that's the thing is like there are things that need to change, right? Like it is okay on the path to remove, pick up some things that are, in the way or move them out of the way and clear the path for ourselves and for others as best we can. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
It's just sort of knowing like well, what's effective and what's good. Sometimes, like it's not necessary to change everything and remove all the little things that hurt us along the way. In fact, it's not even really all that possible, right? But there are ways to reduce the amount of suffering.
Right, right.
It's sort of like what Patty said, something that she said in her talk on Sunday really hit me. She said, um, there's nothing holy about pain, but there's something holy about the truth. And
Hmm.
And I really like I was like, right, yeah, like we're not looking for pain, right? But it
Yeah,
arises and there is something workable with it. There's something that can be done with that.
yeah. Yeah, so we're not like the ascetics, right? Where we're seeking pain and deprivation, as
Mm.
a way to learn. That's
No,
not what it's
there's
about.
plenty of it already.
There's plenty of it already. Yeah, we don't need to go searching for it.
Right.
But yeah, that's such a wonderful way of putting it. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think it's also related. I think it makes me think of the whole two arrows thing, right? Like the
yeah.
wise person, everyone's going to get struck by an arrow, right? Like, unfortunately, that's what samsara and living in this, in this realm is all about. Like, there are arrows flying, and sometimes it's
Mhm.
unavoidable. But the suffering, the reactivity in which we continue to shoot second arrows, that part, that's like where the leather soles comes in, right? That's like
Mhm.
the mindfully stopping, not shooting any more arrows, right? I
Yeah.
think there's a relationship sort of between those two metaphors or ideas.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, both of them are about seeing reality for what it is, seeing samsara for what it is. And yeah, not going down in despair.
Yeah.
That workability, right?
Yeah.
And the way that it's so interesting how like our kind of typical ways of dealing with situations make them unworkable. If the very thing that we don't want to happen often happens, like when I'm just seeking something that isn't possible, or I'm seeking, praise, right? Or
Yeah.
kind of yeah, my own kind of self-interest. Yeah, it often goes awry, or not the way that I would like it to.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like creating expectations of the way things should be,
Right.
it inevitably leads to some disappointment. Kind of like me and Trader Joe's and the
Oh,
Sacramento Food Co-op, right?
uh-huh.
I have this desire. I'm attached, by the way, to speed, efficiency, movement, getting shit
Sure.
done, that kind of thing, right? I there's some kind of attachment to that, and I'm the one in charge of grocery shopping on a weekly basis, and I have to go to both Trader Joe's and to the Sacramento Foods Co-op,
Oh, good Lord.
and yeah. And I have this expectation that I'm gonna get in and out. I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna get what I need. It's all gonna be there, and that's it. Like in and out, no big deal.
Hmm.
And then I have the Trader Joe's parking lot. Anybody in Sacramento, if you the one on Folsom, I'm
It's
sorry, but
terrible.
it is the world's worst. I don't know how that. It's like Dante's fifth level of
It really
hell or
is.
something. It's terrible.
I
And
agree.
and I think everyone is has that same kind of feeling. So there's a lot of like tightness, there's a lot of energy in the parking situation, and there's like lots of like people with bad moods and things. Well, not everybody, I'm just saying like the
Yeah.
parking is and whatever. So like there's that aspect of it. And then and I work at first I was like I just worked on this one at a time. I was like Trader Joe's, all right. So eventually I was like, do I know like stop. You can see with your own two eyes that's not how it is. You already know how it's going to be. Just relax, like develop patience. This is what it's about, right? Like this is your opportunity to develop patience. And so I did. I did. I kid you not. Trader Joe's, one of my great teachers. Thank you so
Yes.
much. I have developed great patience and equanimity in shopping at Trader Joe's on Folsom Boulevard in Sacramento. And but
I have
then
memories of that parking lot.
yeah, I know it's nightmare, right? Right. But even the charnel grounds of Trader Joe's
Oh yeah.
can be lessons and learning lessons. So,
Yeah.
but then I had this other. So the co-op is similar. There's a parking stuff there, but something different, right? Like because it's a different group of people who shop there,
Hmm.
and there's like the personalities of the people and how they are, right? Like it's a different vibe, whatever. And I have all kinds of. I'm also attached
Judgment.
to my judgment. Yeah,
Oh yeah, me
lots of
too.
judge. And oh boy,
I
do I.
automatically got a sense
Oh,
of my head
you
of
knew
who
what I
that
was talking
person
about.
was.
Yeah. You exactly. So all this projection onto them and whatever. And so then I had to use that. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to go there. I don't want to deal with those conceited, self-absorbed, da da blah blah blah, whatever. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm there, so I must be one of them, right? But So, and then I had to do the exact same thing, right?
Mm.
Where I was like, I don't actually, I don't want to be like that. Like, I don't want, like, it's not, it disturbs my peace. I have to go shopping. I'm going to go there, and I don't want to be like that, right? So I
Yeah.
had to kind of like remember and be like, I know I don't want to, like, there is a better way. And so I just slap on my shoes, right? Put the leather on my feet and go in, and no matter what's happening, I don't really care. Like, I'm just like, peaceful and calm, and I'm like, yeah, like, but I have to sort of like, I have to be really intentional about it,
Oh,
right?
you have to be.
Yeah,
Well, and
and
that's what Shantideva is talking about, right?
right,
It's
that's right.
guarding your introspection, like really being
Yeah,
aware, like what state is my mind in right now?
that's
Am
right.
I ready to step into the co-op and like, be a kind person who's not
That's right.
judging everybody in front of me? And am
That's
I ready
right.
for that?
Like
Yeah.
a monk who has taken a vow of celibacy when he's out in the world with all kinds of attractive beings, right?
Yeah.
What does he do? He knows. He looks down at the ground.
Right.
Just
Uh-huh.
just look at the ground. You'll be all
Just
right.
look at the ground. Yep. Yep. Guard that introspection.
So I just wanted to throw that out there. Those are my personal stories of having to slap a little leather on my feet, and I just want to extend a little gratitude to these shopping experience for they have been great training grounds for me.
Great training. Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's
Yeah.
so helpful. And yeah, it's just so, so relatable. Um, yeah, I have a lot of experience of this. But I had a great teacher of the putting the leather on the world.
Mm, mm.
That was my dad. He's
Okay.
gotten a lot better over the years. But man, when we were kids, he would just get mad at everything,
Yeah.
every tiny little inconvenience. Like if he ever had to deal with the Trader Joe's parking lot, I think he would have a stroke. Like he would not be able to handle that parking lot. Um, so this is a man who we saw Paul McCartney when I was like 13, and he had us leave like 45 minutes early so that we wouldn't have to sit in traffic. Right?
Oh, 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 that's so sad.
Yeah, so just yeah, very, very much. And he'll even say like he'll get stuck at a red light, stuck, right? Stuck at a red light. No, you're following traffic and everyone has to, right? And
Right.
he'll say,
Yeah.
oh, just like it knew that I was coming.
Uh,
So yeah, that definitely I think sunk in a little bit in my little child brain.
yeah.
Um, and and so, so yeah, I definitely there were like distress tolerance, right? Like frustration where I'm just
Yeah.
like, why isn't this working? I can get really frustrated with technology, really frustrated with like something where I have to maybe like assemble something and I'm just like, fuck it, I can't do
Yeah.
it.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? Like this should have just been like made for me.
Yep.
It's such like I mean, our culture now is like so good at allowing like the paving of the world, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
hey, everything's ready made for you. It's going to get delivered to your door in exactly the
Yep.
way that you need it. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to leave your house and put on your shoes, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, if I like allowed myself to get on Amazon, I would have like a problem, right? So I stay away, right? That's part of my guarding my
Yeah.
introspection. Um, but yeah, other ways that I definitely do the leather thing is that I I tend to have um, this thought that like if I do something nice for someone or thoughtful, that they should recognize and acknowledge it. And then I'm like bummed and annoyed and
Yeah.
when they don't. Um, and instead, like Shantideva all throughout this text is like, just do what you're here to do as a bodhisattva.
Right.
Lojong, don't expect applause,
Don't
right?
expect it. Exactly. Right.
Right. It
Right.
just do it because it's amazing and this is what you're here for.
Right.
And so yeah, I think that's so much of like the leather on my feet is about like Lojong, really, really practicing that, like don't expect applause, right? And just kind of like tapering my expectations, right, of the world. You
Right.
know, that like I have this idea that people should be nice to me, that they should like what I do, they
Yep.
should appreciate me. And that's not reality. People aren't thinking about me the same way that I'm thinking about me.
No. Think about how much when you were talking about your dad, I couldn't help. I was thinking about my dad as well, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, like it's weird. The world seems to cater to our delusions, right? Like try like and it's like a world full of enablers out there, right?
Yeah.
It's wild to think about like how incredibly out of whack we can get where we really do create these strange expectations that have zero foundation. They no basis in reality whatsoever, right? Like the things so like the cyclical nature of things, right? Like whatever. You do your laundry, right? And then you're really upset because like a week later you're back and you've got this pile of laundry you gotta fold or do
Oh,
whatever, right? And like it's delusional, right? Like of course you do. Of course you do. That's the nature of the thing. That's how
yeah.
it works, right? You
Right.
know, like whatever. There's like an intake, there's an outtake or whatever. Like there's a pattern going on here. And if we just opened our eyes, slowed down, got out of our out of our delusions for a moment and just observed it, we would see, oh yeah, there's like a pattern, there's sort of a transaction going on here, and this is how it works, and we could harmonize with it, and then there
Yeah.
would be a lot less difficulty. But instead, no, no, no. I should live in a world where no, where my laundry gets somebody else did. They pick it up. I don't know. I mean, have to put it outside. They come and pick it up, and then they come and they drop it off and put it in all the drawers, and it's already
Yep.
done. And I shouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah. Or like I shouldn't be stinky, and like
No,
I also, shouldn't there nothing should ever spill on my clothes,
that's
and
right.
they just shouldn't even have to be cleaned.
Exactly.
I mean,
Other
I've
people
been
shouldn't be
there.
stinky either.
I've been there where I actually just didn't wash my clothes or
Yeah.
my hair and
Yeah. Right. Right.
saw how it went, right?
Exactly. But like so it's weird how so when we examine it, so much of it, like when you were talking about your dad and the stoplight, it's so personal.
So, oh my God,
It's
yeah.
so personal. It's about me.
Me,
That stoplight hates me,
right?
right? Or whatever powers that be, whether it be human powers or divine powers or whatever, they somehow they're like, I'm a
Yeah,
bad luck
it's
person.
a big conspiracy, actually.
Right, right.
Really, my dad would say that things were like conspiring against him.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, interesting to think about like our world, huh?
Right,
And
right.
like all the conspiracy theories where it's like there's got to be some explanation, and it's like, yeah, it's samsara, like
Right, exactly. And it can
like it sucks.
I gotta say though, I think it goes both ways. So there's the paranoia aspect of it, right? And I think I may have told you this in the past, but my brother, my dear brother, once accused me. He said, "Daniel, you got a lot of pronoia, right? You think that
Right.
the universe is conspiring for your benefit." And I think about this quite a lot because it's true. I I'm like, yeah, I'm so special, and like the all of the cosmos are like somehow, or even if things are not okay right now, it's okay. It's all conspiring for my benefit somehow. Even if this is
Uh-huh.
bad, it's leading to something good for me over here, right? Which is equally delusional, actually.
It's
And
true,
and
yeah,
just as self-centered, just as full of personality. So the delusion could go either way. It's still
yeah.
delusional.
It's definitely a lot nicer of a delusion.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Except for the fact that reality oftentimes slaps me
Will
up.
hit. Oh
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Not right now, Daniel. It's not doing it right now.
right. Oh man, yeah. Um, it's what Tupten Chodron calls like my laws of the universe,
My laws of I like it.
right? Where it's like, things have to be this way, and when they're not, like it's a violation of the laws of the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
My idea of the way things are or should be or whatever, right? And when they're not that way, something's going to shift. So, and a lot of times it is actually like the mind that shifts. Like my dad, I always thought it was amazing. My family and I talk about this quite a lot that he'd make up a story. He had a story for anything and everybody, everything that ever happened, right? And
yeah,
it always like directly again related to him. The reason this person did this thing is because of me somehow, right? And he would create these elaborate stories and hold on to them. And then he would act as if they were real.
yeah,
Right? He would just totally 100, and he would tell anybody who listened all these stories that he made up 100%. He just made it up, right?
yeah,
And he believed it. It was absolutely amazing. And I feel like that's the thing that like we're all sort of guilty. That's the delusional aspect of
for
it.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's just like creating enemies out of everything
Yeah. Creating enemies
external,
out of everything. That's
right?
damn. That's
Like
a good one.
and Shantideva later on, like he has it's verse 71, I'll read it. So one who has become self-controlled in that way, so in the way of the Bodhisattva, should always have a smiling face, give up frowning and grimacing, be the first to greet, and be a friend to the world. I love that just because it's
Ah,
like that is leather to the feet, right? Where it's
that
like,
is.
no matter who's in front of me or what like obstacle there is, like I
That's
can
right.
greet that and
That's
and
right.
and be a friend to it. And it
That's right.
doesn't, yeah, I don't have to create enemies everywhere.
Patience, introspection, compassion. That's what the leather for the feet's made out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing, I think, Shantideva points to this is that essentially once the mind is tamed, there's nothing left to fix.
Mm, yeah,
Right?
right.
Like nothing outside of us needs to be fixed once we tame our mind.
Right.
Ah,
That's
right.
freedom, isn't it?
Think about it, like and even though we recognize that this is a daunting task that's likely going to take us multiple lifetimes, right? It could take us a while, right? To to
Mhm.
to tame our minds completely and utterly. Still, think about how much easier that is than trying to tame the entire universe and make it in accordance with our own ideas of the way it's supposed to be. How much
Yeah.
harder would that be?
Yeah, it would be very hard. It would be
That's
impossible.
impossible.
Yeah.
Could
Yeah.
not be done. But this can be done.
All right. So let's do possible things.
That's what he's saying,
Yeah.
right? Let's do possible things. Like stop fixating on impossible things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And how amazing that what's possible for us is that someday we'll be a Buddha.
Yeah, and not only that, but every single day we're getting closer and closer and closer to it, right? If we're doing these
Yeah.
practices, right? If we're working on our mind training, if we're are guarding our awareness and introspection like this. One thing that I liked in this chapter is he talks about protecting the wound of the mind, right?
Oh, that was such a cool
Right?
metaphor. Oh, I wish more people
Exactly,
would talk
because
about that. Yeah.
right when we have a wound, we're it's sensitive. It's baby fresh skin, it's tender or whatever, right? And he's like, your mind is a wound.
Yeah.
It's so sensitive, it's so tender. Be careful with it,
Yeah. Yeah, that really struck me reading that line about the wound of the mind.
right?
Yeah, it's one that I'm going to be chewing on for sure.
Same, right?
Yeah.
When I start hurting, I'm gonna be like, oh, right, there's the wound of the mind. Look at that.
Mm.
Yeah, it's so sensitive,
Yeah.
so tender.
Ooh, Shantideva.
Mm,
Thank you,
mm.
Shantideva. Thank you,
Yeah,
Daniel. This has been a real pleasure.
same.
Yeah.
Always so much fun.
And everyone listening, thank you so much. If you can make a donation at lionsroaddharmacenter.org, we always appreciate that. And
Yep.
look forward to seeing you next time.
I wanted to briefly say somebody
Yeah.
actually posted a comment on a recent video saying that they had missed one where the live streaming thing wasn't working. And I was able to upload it, but my point is, even if we don't, if you make a comment, even if we don't see it during the show or whatever, we will see it and respond to it. Promise.
Yeah, we'd love comments. That'd be great.
Yeah, give us feedback, questions, comments, complaints, suggestions for shows, all of that stuff.
Yeah, awesome. All
Okay.
right.
All right.
See you
Bye,
next week.
Jack. Bye, everybody.